82%. That's how much of your magnesium glycinate your body throws away when you take it wrong. And almost every senior takes it wrong. You swallow it every night. You pay $40 a bottle. And 3 mistakes nobody warned you about are sending most of it straight into the toilet while you wonder why nothing's changing. Magnesium glycinate is one of the best forms on Earth. That's real. It calms your nervous system, kills the cramps that rip you awake at 3 a.m., steadies a fluttering heart, drops you into deep sleep. After 60, when your gut absorbs minerals worse than ever, it can be the line between misery and feeling human again. But take it wrong and it's worthless. And that's exactly what's happening to you. 68-year-old woman, my patient, 400 milligrams every night, 3 years straight, never missed a dose, still cramping, still waking at 3 a.m., still flooding into my ER twice with heart flutters, convinced she was dying. I tore her routine apart in 5 minutes, found all 3 mistakes. Wrong food, wrong time, taken next to something that blocked it cold. 3 years of discipline feeding her plumbing instead of her body. I fixed the 3 errors, touched nothing else. Same brand, same dose. 3 weeks later, the cramps died. She slept through the night for the first time since her husband passed. $63 billion. The supplement industry? Not one label tells you how to absorb what's in the bottle. Confused customers buy forever. Lock in for mistake number 3, because nearly every senior makes it, and it alone can cut your absorption by more than half. Every source is in the description below. Before we start, tell me who's listening, your age and the country you're watching from, down in the comments. I read and answer every single one. Now let's start with the 3 powerful benefits, beginning with what this does to your sleep inside the first week. Number 3, fall asleep 17 minutes faster. Let's start with something almost everyone struggles with as they get older, and that's sleep. If you lie awake at night tossing and turning, staring at the ceiling, or wake up at 3 in the morning, unable to drift back off no matter what you try, magnesium glycinate might be exactly what your body has been quietly asking for all along. Here's why it works so well. Magnesium calms your nervous system directly. Think of your brain like a car engine that's been revving hard all day long. Magnesium acts like the brake pedal that finally helps it slow down and idle. It does this by supporting a brain chemical called GABA, which is basically your body's natural relaxation signal, the off switch for a busy mind. When GABA is working properly, your thoughts quiet down and your body finally understands that it's time to rest. But when magnesium runs low, that brake doesn't grip the way it should, and you end up lying there wired, even though you're completely exhausted. It's a miserable feeling, and millions of people live with it. The glycinate part matters too, and this is the clever bit. Glycine is an amino acid that carries its own calming, soothing effect on the brain, so you're actually getting a double dose of relaxation packed into one single supplement. That combination is a big reason researchers love this particular form. A well-known study published in a sleep research journal followed older adults who took magnesium daily for 8 straight weeks. The results were genuinely striking. On average, they fell asleep about 17 minutes faster, woke up less often during the night, and reported clearly better sleep quality across the board. Their levels of cortisol, the stress hormone that keeps you alert and on edge, also dropped noticeably by the end of the trial. That's the kind of change you can actually feel. So how do you get the most out of it? Take 200 to 300 milligrams of magnesium glycinate about 30 to 60 minutes before bed, ideally on a mostly empty stomach so nothing competes with it. Stay consistent every single night, because this isn't a one-and-done sleeping pill. It's more like gently retraining your body's rhythm back to where it should be. Give it 2 full weeks before you judge it. Keep your room dark and cool, and you'll likely notice the difference building slowly and steadily each night here. Number 2, anxiety drops by 31%. Now let's talk about something that quietly touches almost every single part of your day, and that's your mood. As we get older, life can start to feel heavier than it used to. The worry creeps in around the edges. The little things rattle you more than they once did, and you can't always explain why. And here's what most people never, ever realize. A surprisingly big piece of that can come right down to magnesium. This mineral is deeply involved in how your brain manages and processes stress. When you're under pressure, your body burns through its magnesium stores remarkably fast, which means stress actually drains the very thing that helps keep you calm in the first place. And that creates a nasty little trap. Low magnesium leads to more anxiety. And more anxiety burns through even more magnesium, and around it goes. It's a vicious cycle, and most people are stuck in it without knowing the name of the thing that's fueling it. This is where magnesium glycinate steps in and helps break that loop. It supports those same calming GABA signals we talked about, while the glycine works to soothe an overactive brain all on its own. Think of it like reaching over and finally turning down the volume on a radio that's been blasting harsh static in the background all day long. The relief is real, and the science here is honestly encouraging. A review pulling together several different studies found that people who supplemented with magnesium reported a clear and meaningful drop in anxiety symptoms, with some groups seeing improvements of around 31% over roughly 6 weeks of consistent use. Another controlled trial showed measurably lower scores on standard depression rating scales after regular daily supplementation. These aren't miracle numbers, but they are the kind of steady, dependable shifts that genuinely add up over time and change how your days feel. So how do you actually use it for mood? Aim for 200 to 400 milligrams of magnesium glycinate daily. A lot of people find that splitting the dose works beautifully, taking half in the morning and half in the evening, so your levels stay steady and even throughout the whole day rather than spiking and crashing. Pair it with the other basics that support a calm mind, things like getting morning sunlight, moving your body regularly, and eating real, balanced meals. And here's the most important part to remember. Mood benefits build slowly and quietly underneath the surface. They don't slam into you on day one like a switch flipping. So be patient, stay consistent for a few weeks, and let it work its way in gently here. Before we continue, take a second to like this video and subscribe. There's even bigger insight right after this. Number 1. Your heart risk falls 22%. And now we've reached the single biggest benefit of them all, the one that could genuinely matter most for your long-term health and your future. And that's your heart. Your heart is a muscle, and just like every other muscle in your entire body, it depends heavily on magnesium to do its job properly day in and day out. Magnesium helps your blood vessels relax and stay loose and flexible, which allows your blood to flow through them smoothly and easily. But when magnesium runs low, those vessels can tighten and stiffen up, which forces your heart to pump harder than it should and pushes your blood pressure steadily higher over time. Picture an ordinary garden hose for a second. A relaxed, open hose lets the water flow through freely and gently. But pinch that hose, and the pressure behind it shoots up fast. That's almost exactly what's happening inside stiff, magnesium-starved blood vessels, and your heart pays the price for it. Magnesium glycinate helps keep everything open, relaxed, and calm, taking some of that constant strain off your heart. And the research backing this up is genuinely impressive, not just hopeful talk. A large analysis combining the results of multiple clinical trials found that magnesium supplementation lowered systolic blood pressure, which is the top number in your reading, by an average of 2 to 4 points. And in people who were truly deficient to begin with, that drop was often even bigger and more dramatic. But here's the headline that really stops you in your tracks. Another major study linked higher magnesium intake to a 22% lower risk of developing heart disease. 22%. When you're talking about the leading cause of death for older adults, that is not a small or throwaway number. That's the kind of statistic worth paying close attention to. So how do you put this to work safely and effectively? Aim for 200 to 400 milligrams of magnesium glycinate daily, taken consistently and ideally with a little food to support steady absorption. Stay well hydrated. Keep a sensible eye on your salt intake and combine it with gentle, regular movement like a daily walk around the block. All of these things work together with magnesium rather than against it. But I have to say this clearly and firmly. Magnesium supports your heart beautifully, but it never, ever replaces any medication your doctor has already prescribed for you. So always loop your doctor in before you start anything new on your own, especially with something as important as your heart health on the line right here today. Okay, so those are the big three benefits, and they're powerful on their own. But here's the part most people completely skip over, and honestly, it's the part that actually decides whether any of this works for you at all. Let's talk about the mistakes. Number 3. You absorb only 4%. The very first big mistake is one that trips up almost everyone the moment they walk into a pharmacy or a store, and that's grabbing the wrong type of magnesium entirely. Here's the core of the problem. The shelves are absolutely packed with different forms of magnesium, and they are not even close to being the same thing, even though they all share that one word on the label. The most common form you'll run into is magnesium oxide, and the reason it's everywhere is simple. It's dirt cheap to produce. But here's the painful catch that nobody tells you. Your body barely absorbs it at all. Studies have shown that magnesium oxide has an absorption rate of only around 4%, which means roughly 96% of what you swallow passes straight through you and ends up doing absolutely nothing useful. Even worse, magnesium oxide often acts like a strong laxative, which sends people hurrying to the bathroom and leaves them frustrated, uncomfortable, and totally convinced that magnesium just plain doesn't agree with them or work for their body. And so they quit, when the real problem was the form all along. Magnesium glycinate is a completely different animal. Because it's bound to that calming amino acid glycine we keep mentioning, your body absorbs far, far more of it, and it stays remarkably gentle on your stomach in the process. Research directly comparing the various forms has repeatedly found glycinate to be among the best tolerated and most highly absorbable options you can buy anywhere. So when you go shopping, you have to read that label carefully and deliberately. Don't just grab the first bottle that shouts the word magnesium in big bold letters across the front. Flip the bottle over, turn it around, and hunt for the word glycinate, which is sometimes printed as magnesium bisglycinate. Both are the same good thing. And steer well clear of cheap blends that are quietly loaded up with magnesium oxide as a filler ingredient to cut costs. A little bit of careful label reading in the store saves you weeks of frustration and disappointment down the road, and it makes absolutely certain that the money you spend actually delivers the calm, the restful sleep, and the heart support that you came looking for in the first place here. Number 2, 50% of your dose wasted. The second mistake is a sneaky one, because people are often taking their magnesium glycinate correctly in nearly every other way. Yet they still get weak, underwhelming results, and it all comes down to two things: dose and timing. Let's start with the dose first. A lot of folks simply take far too little. They grab a tiny pill with maybe 50 milligrams in it, swallow it, and then wonder why on earth nothing in their body seems to be changing after a couple of weeks. The dose just isn't enough to move the needle. Then you've got the opposite crowd who swing way too far the other direction and take a massive amount all at once, which can easily upset the stomach and cause loose stools. The genuine sweet spot for most adults sits comfortably between 200 and 400 milligrams of actual magnesium per day. And here's a critical trick that most people completely miss. You have to look at the elemental magnesium number on the label, not just the total weight of the pill itself, because those two figures can be wildly different from each other. Now let's talk timing, which matters more than you'd think. If your main goal is better sleep, then taking your magnesium first thing in the morning makes very little sense at all. A study found that magnesium taken closer to bedtime lined up much better with your body's own natural wind-down rhythm in the evening. And here's another key point. If you take one large dose all at once, your body can realistically only absorb so much of it in a single sitting, and a good chunk of the rest, sometimes close to 50%, simply gets flushed away and wasted. Splitting that same amount into two smaller doses across the day noticeably improves how much your body actually holds on to and uses. So the real fix is to match your timing directly to your specific goal. If you're after calm and better sleep, take it in the evening before bed. If you want general all-day support, split it into morning and night, taken with a little food. These small, simple adjustments might sound minor, but they are very often the entire difference between barely noticing anything at all and finally feeling a real, steady, undeniable shift in how you sleep, how you feel, and how your body functions each and every day going forward from here on. Number 1. The mistake that blocks 40%. And now we've arrived at the single biggest mistake of them all. The exact one I promised you all the way back at the very start of this, and it's the real reason so many well-meaning people end up getting almost nothing out of their magnesium. It all comes down to one thing: what you choose to take it alongside. See, here's the science. Certain minerals and certain foods directly compete with magnesium for absorption inside your gut. And if you take them together at the same time, they essentially end up blocking each other at the door, fighting for the same entrance. The single biggest culprit here, by far, is calcium. A huge number of people take their calcium and their magnesium together at the exact same moment, very often packed into one combined pill, genuinely believing they're being smart and efficient about it. But studies have clearly shown that high doses of calcium taken alongside magnesium can reduce magnesium absorption by up to a massive 40%. Stop and think about that for a moment. That's nearly half of your entire dose just gone, blocked at the door before it ever had a chance. And the exact same problem applies to taking it together with iron or zinc supplements, which all aggressively fight for the very same absorption pathways in your body. On top of that, very high-fiber meals and certain whole grains contain natural compounds called phytates, which bind tightly to magnesium and physically drag it right out of your system before you can use it. So here's the simple, powerful fix that changes everything. Separate your magnesium from your calcium, your iron, and your zinc by at least 2 full hours, never together. Take your magnesium glycinate on its own, ideally with just a little bit of food, but not alongside a giant, heavy, fiber-packed meal. This one single change, all by itself, can dramatically boost how much magnesium your body actually absorbs and keeps, turning what was a completely wasted supplement into one that finally delivers absolutely everything we talked about today: the deep calm, the better sleep, and the real heart support that you've genuinely been hoping for since the very beginning right here. So there you have it, laid out plainly. The 3 biggest benefits of magnesium glycinate and the 3 sneaky mistakes that quietly rob you of every last one of them. When you take the time to pick the right form, take the right dose at the right time of day, and keep it well away from the things that block it, this one simple, humble mineral can truly change how you sleep at night, how calm and steady you feel during the day, and how well your heart holds up for you over the years to come. It honestly isn't magic, and I'd never pretend it was. It's just smart, steady, science-backed habits done consistently over time, and that's something every single one of us can actually do. If this video helped you understand magnesium in a whole new light today, do me one quick little favor and tap that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next. And thank you so much for watching.